This program is brought to you by the Media Liberty Alliance Foundation in cooperation with OBBM Network TV, bringing citizen-led, creative local media to the forefront of local communities to foster a greater understanding of constitutional liberty and appreciation of what makes us truly free, starting with you and me.
The Zach Rateliff Show is brought to you by Mortgage Financial in Texarkana, Exceed Health Clinic on Mull Drive in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org.
The Declaration of Independence says we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Shockingly, Senator Kane from Virginia said our rights come from lawmakers and government. That's what socialists and communists believe. Our God-given rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and our elected officials' role is to protect the rights of we the people, not give and take them away. I'm Pastor John Miller. Visit me at churchontherock.org.
Hello and welcome to the Zach Rateliff Show. I'm Zach. I'm glad to be with you. Glad you are with me on a cool August day. It rained last night, that late August rain that so many farmers need and look forward to. And so it cooled off. It's only supposed to be, mid-90s today. And I was thankful for it. 78 when I walked out of the house this morning. Good cool morning. And man, it's nice to have some relief. Anyway, let's jump in. Let me show you something pretty quick, and if you're listening, I'll just tell you about it. But if you're watching, you are now looking at the new ZachRateliffShow.com. That's it. Been a work in progress. Glad to have it. This should make it easier, and listeners, for you as well. You can go, obviously all my episodes are where they always are, OBBM, all the other things, but you can go to ZachRateliffShow.com. You can email me, Zach at ZachRateliffShow.com. Get your comments in there. Just trying to make it easier for you all to engage. You've asked for ways to do that, and so that's what I'm trying to do. So anyway, as you can see it is there. Pretty simple. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the growth of the show to where we're to a point where it was like, yeah, maybe you should do that. So thank God for it. Thank God for all of you. Thank God for another day in the greatest country that He's ever given us. So anyway, we're going to jump in. We're going to start with, this is seemingly local, but it's not because it's everywhere in the country. Now what you're looking at on the screen, if you're looking, is from the Texas Realtors. It says got data centers. And then it just kind of goes through, and so go through and look for this. It's what to look for if a data center is coming towards you. Okay, if it's coming in your neck of the woods. So it says how much, it's just a flyer that Texas Realtors put out. How much water does the project need? Where will it come from? What type of cooling system? And just all the correct questions to ask. And then, what's the community impact? Will the proposed facility be located at an aqueduct distance from homes or sensitive facilities? What level of noise, light, and heat are expected? And just kind of goes through all of the questions, which I think most of you are asking, but it's based out of an article, and let me get that pulled up to where I can read it and get back in there. There's an article on TexasRealEstate.com. And so, it says data center resources, and then it goes into, has a data center been proposed in your community? And then but it says, don't say no right away. It also says, don't say yes right away. It says there are many factors, and then it kind of breaks down the history of data centers, how long they've been around, what the difference of them are. There's edge data centers and enterprise and co-location and hyperscale, what the meaning in each one of those and types of each one of those facility and how modular and flexible they are. And then it kind of goes into the infrastructure concerns and how they actually cool themselves. What are the different types of cooling? It's a lot of technological stuff in this article on TexasRealEstate.com that, as we have this debate, as we're talking about this, I feel like these are the questions and concerns we need to be thoughtfully pursuing. And I know some of us are, but we can't do it from an emotional standpoint. So I'm thankful for the Texas Realtors for putting this out. It goes into tax abatements, public transparency. But I feel like they handled it very down the middle. Here's what you're looking for pro, here's what you're looking for con. And then that way we can all make the best decision that's based for us. So I just wanted to bring that article up. I drove by the one proposed site that's active here in Bowie County, just trying to see where they're logging from. It just looks like any other log entrance, and I don't know. I'm just interested to see what they do with the site. It's anyway, I'll hold some comment there, but I drove by it yesterday. If it hadn't had a sign that said log trucks entering roadway, I would have missed it. Right? You didn't know what was happening back there, like any other logging job you've ever come across. Now I know that always won't be the case, but currently it is the case. Currently it is the case here. So, that was just worth seeing. Look, personally, I think data centers are coming. I think we ought to have the correct county laws in order to manage them, in order for them to be for the community and for the county to gain the most benefit from them as possible. And then there's even an article, and I have it somewhere and I might get to it, but it said, what if factories had been treated the way we're treating data centers? And that's especially true around here, right? Around where I am in Northeast Texas and Texarkana. We have 2 paper mills within 30 minutes. We have a lumber mill within an hour. We have an aluminum mill. If there wasn't for construction, I could look across the interstate and see. We have a tire plant for a tire and rubber plant, right? We have the ammunition depot. If all of these industries had to meet the same requirements we're putting on and expectations we're putting on these data centers, we wouldn't have any of this. Just think of the people that live around the airport, and especially if you're in a major city, DFW, something like that. My mom lives in the flight path of DFW now. And I mean, she's far north of town. I mean, up off 380. But when the planes are flying over if you're outside. It just is what it is. So what if you live over there by the airport? Right? This is what happens. Now, should we have rules around it? Yes. But if we had these same standards that we're trying to place on these data centers, we would have zero growth here. And so I just want us to be, as we're having this conversation, I just want us to be realistic about it. I will try to continue to reach out to Black Mountain and see if we can't start getting some statements, or, hopefully they're going to come on the show. I haven't been told that, but I haven't been told they aren't. I haven't been told anything. Just trying to go through my channels and because I'd like to hear from them. Because if they are going to make $1 billion investment in our community, and if it has the chances of lowering property taxes and helping schools, I want to know about that too. And then we'll see what that trade-off is between that and then all the negatives that we've heard. But even like in this article from the TexasRealEstate.com, it goes into the closed loop systems a little bit. And it's like, the water usage is minimal. This, like every other technology, has advanced a long way. I just want to make sure we're having an honest conversation about it. Now, look, I get it. If your house is right there, man, that's a problem. But I drove by there. Now, 600 acres, yeah, it touches a lot of other parcels of land, right? So I understand the concern. And so I'm not discounting how anyone feels about their land or being aggravated about it, but I just want to be real honest that there's a chance this could be real good for us. There's a chance it couldn't be. There's a chance it would go wrong. I just think it's a conversation we have to have with an open mind. As you all know, if you're frequent listeners of the show, it does not bother me to bring someone on that's against the data center. And if ever anyone's willing, it doesn't bother me to bring someone on that's for the data center. But for me personally, I don't know that I'm indifferent. But I definitely can see the value and the benefit of it coming. Look, where I live, there used to be trees down from my neighborhood. I couldn't hear the interstate. They cut those trees. They're going to put a housing development in. Guess what I can hear now? The interstate. That affected, a little over 50 of us in our neighborhood. Now we have to deal with that noise. Now we can see the truck lights. We had to deal with the fires of them burning everything off and smoking out our neighborhood. The runoff from the dirt, right? All the things, just on a smaller scale. Yeah, but it's got a constant hum. So does a bunch of houses going on top of you. You hear doors shut, and you hear their generators run, and you hear all the things. We just have to be honest about what this is. We have to look where it is. And look, if you're just hell-bent against it, okay. You're allowed to be. We live in the freest country that God's ever put on the earth. We're allowed to have these conversations. And we're allowed to demand that you can demand whatever you want to, I guess. Nobody has to listen. But we're allowed to go to our quorum court and expect answers. What I would like, to tell you the truth, is I would like for somebody to stand up at the quorum court and say, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Commissioner, it's all Misters on ours, for whatever precinct, how do you feel about this? And then if they want it, stand up, say, yeah, I'm for it. I'm for this, and here are the reasons I'm for it. And if they're not, and they're against it, I just need them to stand up and say, I'm against it, and here are the reasons I'm against it. I think a lot of this goes away if we can just have someone do that. Right? If we can just have our elected officials come out and say, yes, I'm for it, or yes, I'm against it. Or here are the pros and here are the cons, and this is what I'm weighing. Everybody won't be happy with them, but everybody's already not happy with them. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Anyway, TexasRealEstate.com to see that article. It's worth looking at for sure. I might, as I'm building this ZachRateliff.com or ZachRateliffShow.com, I might add a links page and just start. Well, we got so much time. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Let's keep going. All right, let's go to some fun stuff. And by fun, you know what I mean if you're a frequent listener. If you're not, welcome. We're growing every day. Glad to have you. The majority of states in the country, multiple countries around the world, tens of thousands of you. So thanks for listening. This from Mike Engelman on X.com. Mitch McConnell hasn't been seen or heard from in 75 days. Here's a side note, though. Also, Maxine Waters hadn't been heard from in longer than that. Where are these people? Are they dead? Are they in an old folks' home? Sorry, I don't know if we can say that anymore. Are they in a home for old folks? Are they just so disabled? Are they in a an Alzheimer's ward? Nobody is requiring these people to have any responsibility on this. We have to get rid of the 17th Amendment. Our states need to be able to recall these guys. Our legislators need to be able to have some accountability. Here's the problem. Do you think your state legislature have the cojones enough to do that? This is real. Our leadership, the positions that are supposed to be protect our rights, protect our citizens, have been stolen by zombies. All these zombie movies from a few years ago in the zombie apocalypse, all they had to do was walk through the Capitol and they would have needed no CGI. It's from DC Drano on X.com. Deep state rhinos in the Senate can control America with just 4 or 5 person blockade. Obviously, because the Republicans refuse to change the rules on the filibuster. Well, this is the way it's always been. I don't care. The Democrats are going to change it, make new states, and take over and run everything down our throat. That's not just me. They're the ones telling us that. Believe people are who they say they are. That's why they oppose voter ID. They can't win with voter ID. And they being the Democrats and the rhinos. Yeah. But on the voter ID front, this front end from Benny Johnson. Major SCOTUS victory, Supreme Court of the United States, on mail-in ballots. Lifts a ban on 23 states. The Supreme Court has just overruled a block placed by an Obama judge preventing Trump's executive order to implement safeguards on mail-in ballots, says Benny Johnson. The ruling now means states must turn over a list of every voter getting a ballot, everyone they're sending a ballot to, put a unique serialized barcode on both the outgoing and return envelopes, and if a state refuses, the United States Postal Service will not deliver those ballots. Okay. What's so wrong with that? Let's know who's voting. Every time I go vote here in Texas, I have to show my ID. This is who I say I am. And I look like the guy I say I am. If I wasn't, then why? You know what I'm saying. It just makes sense. They can, look, technology is to a point you can go to Walmart, scan it with your phone. It will know exactly which gas pump you're on and then give you 10 cents a gallon discount. But we think it's too much work to put a barcode on an envelope and a ballot to make sure they match the right person that's supposed to get it. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous what we allow and the lies that we willingly buy into. We have to speak up. And I know a lot of us are trying to. But, you got little Susie's trying out for the Nutcracker. Well, Johnny just started his first year of tackle football. He got band practice. Got to get ready for the new student council year. Right? You got a lot going on with your kids. This might be mom's last Thanksgiving. Right? Might be the first one with a new baby. First year for Santa Claus. I get it. We've got life. We've got things we've got to do. You got to read 20 minutes a night with your kid to make sure they're on top of their homework. Whatever. I get it. All of that goes away if we're not consistent on how we vote. If we don't make sure our laws are followed. Yeah, but we had to do Little League sports. Okay, but your grandkids won't because we're communist. Right? I know that seems like a stretch. I'm with you. I hear it. But if we don't pay attention to our way of life, to our culture, it will disappear. Ask those out in Michigan or Plano. We've, for so long, taken for granted our freedom and our culture that we no longer care to protect it. We no longer fight for it. My daughter came home from school. And she said, why are we pledging allegiance to the flag? I said, maybe that's a good question. Let's talk about it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Okay. Why are we doing that? Because it says we're a nation under one God. Because we're a republic under one God. We're pledging to continue on to be a republic. We're pledging to continue standing under God and depending on Him. We're outwardly saying these are the things we expect our country to do. That's why we say that pledge. And I promise you, I said it with just as much passion. And of course, she's in 5th grade looking at me like I'm nuts. So that's okay. She's got some fight in her, so she needs to know. We fight for what we believe in. Oh, you got to pick your battles. I pick every battle. Bring it all. As long as I'm inside my 3 principles, right? Jesus Christ, the only way to heaven, the only way you get there is through Him. All other religions are wrong. It's that simple. Number 2, I want to be a good dad. I want to set a good example. I want to take the fights that when she looks back like, man, my dad wasn't afraid to say that. My dad wasn't afraid to stand up. My dad wasn't a coward. Then I want to be a good son. I want my parents to be able to say, same thing. My son will say it. Sometimes to his own detriment. He will tell you how he believes, full-throated. Sometimes to his own detriment. But it's going to be real. We have to stand for our culture. We can't be afraid to. Now, I understand the American Revolution was fought and won with less than 30% of the population. But what percentage are we that listen to this? Side note, I got a report that we're in the top 10 podcasts in the country. Thank you all for that. Thank you, Jesus. But you know what? Top 10% of podcasts in the country. We have to talk about these freedoms. People have to understand that we have these freedoms, and then we have to exercise these freedoms in order to maintain and grow them. It's just that simple to me. But Zach, you get paid to talk about it. No, I don't. I do this because I enjoy this. I do this because I'm passionate about it. If I get paid one day, fine. I'll be glad to. Do I have some sponsors? Yes, they help me keep the cost of the show under control. We have to be willing to do it. That's all there is to it. Thank you to my sponsors. You can see a list of those sponsors on ZachRateliffShow.com. And you can become one. You can sign up to become one if you want. All right, let's rock on. Just in from Eric Doherty on X.com. Just in, a massive development. President Trump has been informed by the Navy that all the mines have been removed from the Strait of Hormuz. He's now watching the strait with Space Force. We're watching the strait with Space Force. Same way we're watching the nuclear sites in Iran, all 3 of them. We know what's happening. Look, you think flock cameras or something? You're worried about your privacy? They know everything you do. And you ever, what was that movie with Will Smith and Gene Hackman? I mean, that's where we are, baby. I don't remember the name of it, but if you do, email me. Zach at ZachRateliffShow.com. That's where we are. That's awesome. I'm glad the mines are gone. I'm glad, I'm glad we're there. Let's keep rolling. Let me move to the articles. Here's this, more on data centers. Oh, this is what I was talking about earlier. This is from National Review. Oh, if you're not reading the National Review, you definitely should. My uncle sometimes writes articles for them too. Shannon Coffin. NationalReview.com. When American manufacturing was truly coming into its own in the early 20th centuries, workers sometimes labored 12-hour days for 7 days a week and risked life limb working near dangerous machinery, while factories blackened the skies of American cities and poisoned the waterways. Yet some of the same people who insist that the American economy need to reindustrialize to return to a version of those Halian days can't bear the thought of construction of industrial scale computing factories. That's right, because there are people all the time that say, we need to bring factories back. We need to industrialize. You can't have it both ways. Anyway, go to National Review, read that article. It's worth reading. And then here's another one from National Review. The destructive opposition to data centers. Anti-data center sentiment is sweeping the nation, and this being an election year, politicians of both parties are jumping to indulge it. It just goes on to say, the strictest guardrails in the nation is what some people are calling for. The politics surrounding data centers have certainly changed. A year ago, most Americans were ambivalent to the question. Today, polls consistently show that a supermajority of voters are opposed. Not all of these concerns are unfounded. And it goes through. So it gives you the pros and cons, again, of data centers. Nationalreview.com, if you want to look for that article, the self-destructive opposition of data centers. It just means we're shooting ourselves in the foot. It's worth reading. Even if you're 100% anti-data center, go read it. Just like you hear Trump derangement syndrome, or to the point of getting data center derangement syndrome. Just like we did with nuclear power back in the day. Oh my gosh, it's the worst thing ever. We're not going to do it. And then we're going to depend on foreign countries for oil. Moderation is okay. We don't have to do away with it completely. So there's that. Here's this from Constitution X on X.com. Iran is collapsing in real time. The regime is bleeding out. The Strait of Hormuz crossings just exploded, up 400% going through the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. Navy is escorting tankers out of the Persian Gulf like a wartime operation. Their currency just hit a catastrophic 2 million reals to $1. Their economy is in free fall. Their hardliners are threatening their neighbors while their own people watch the currency die. Trump is crushing them with pure economic warfare and a naval blockade. This was what he told us would happen. We just have to stand with him. I hear all the time, well, I'm just not happy with the Trump administration. Overall, I'm thrilled with what we're getting based on all the opposition he has from Republicans and Democrats. It's just wild. Okay, let's go to Jeff at _Jeffrey O on X.com. I don't know how to say this. Mahdi Hassan claims Islam is peaceful. Then this British politician has a brutal response. Speaker, my side of the argument is regularly told that we are demonizing Islam and whipping up fear of Islam. But let me tell you what actually whips up fear of Islam. 9/11, the London bombings, Madrid, Mumbai, Bali, death for apostasy, death for blasphemy, death for adultery, death for homosexuality, gender discrimination, child marriage, beheadings, imprisonment for being raped, the murder of Theo Van Gogh, death threats, Sharia patrols, polyamorous marriages. This is what causes the fear of Islam. It is not me. We'll be told this is just the extreme fringe of Islam. Well, look at Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam and the custodian of its holy sites. People are executed for blasphemy and apostasy. But apparently that's the fringe? Calling Saudi Arabia the extreme fringe of Islam is like calling the Vatican the extreme fringe of Catholicism. Sorry, it just doesn't work. Then we're told violent Muslims have misunderstood Islam. Saudi Arabia has misunderstood. Iran has misunderstood. Yemen has misunderstood. Has there ever been a more spectacularly misunderstood religion than Islam? This guy goes on to say, I'm constantly told that I need to respect Islam, but I am under no greater obligation to respect Islam than any other belief. He says, I am under no obligation to make compromises with an ideology I simply don't see as peaceful. Why don't I see it as peaceful? Because of the evidence. If I look around the world and see the countries where Islam calls the shots, all I see is brutality and violence imposed by the state. It's Jeff at Jeffrey O on X.com. I think that's great. I think that hits it right on the head, as they say. All right, let's keep going. Gunther Eagleman. Texas is stealing Wall Street's lunch money. Morgan Stanley just announced they're planting the flag in Texas. Goldman Sachs and Bank of America already stacked up nearly 11,000 new finance jobs within 300 feet of each other. Meanwhile, New York and California keep taxing, regulating, and lecturing their way to irrelevance. This could be good for Texas as long as we handle it correctly. As long as we handle it correctly. Let's see what else I've got before we get out of here. This is from General Mike Flynn on X. Will someone from the White House of any substance, such as the POTUS or Susie Wiles, confirm that U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell is still alive? What does it take? That's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Listen, a lot of times I talk about some tough stuff, some heavy things. Have hope, my friends. Jesus Christ is still the King. He is in control. With his name and faith of a mustard seed, we can do all things he did and greater. We just have to be aware. It doesn't mean it steals our joy. Our joy is a fruit of the Spirit. Don't let it steal yours. I won't let it steal mine. We'll pray about it, and we'll come back here and we'll talk about it again tomorrow. I hope God blesses each and every one of you, and have a good day.